Good morning everyone, glad to meet you again in these lectures always of literature and always about the literary genres. Today we continue with the second genre, which is poetry or verse, and we'll explore its key elements. These elements are, we can say, the key features which characterize poetry and render it a unique form of expression, a unique form of expression and a literary art which is totally different from the other genres. Now, of course, the main thing which characterizes poetry is its language, right? Because the language we use in poetry is different from the common language. That's why we can say that poetry itself is a language, is a unique and distinctive language. So, this language of the poetry is different from the common language, from the ordinary language we are familiar with in terms of structure, in terms of phonology, morphology, and tone. And tone. Also, the uniqueness, right, of poetry is stemmed from different features, different characteristics, which today name as elements of poetry. Now, we have already mentioned some of these key features, like when we spoke about diction, which is the careful selection of words, the careful selection of words in poetry, right, which distinguishes the poetic language from the common language. And also we spoke about what we call precision in poetry. It means that metrical, precision, that particular order of syllables, of beats, of patterns within the poetic lines, right, which is governed by that strict form, strict order, right, and so on, and which makes the poetic language different also from the common language, which is freer language. Another today, two important features which characterize poetry we tend to highlight in this lecture, and we'll try to detail them with the adequate, inshallah, the details and examples. So, we have two main features which characterize poetry and make it really something unique, right? These are figurative language, and also the musical devices. Right? Musical devices. Now, when we say simply figurative language, we mean the use of that imaginative language, right? And when we say musical devices, the use of those musical, if you can say, devices which beautify, right, the poem and give it more musical tone, or yes, more or better musical tone. So let's start first with the main, or number one feature, which is figurative language. Figurative language. What do we mean by figurative language? When we say figurative language, we mean that language, it's the language which uses, right, words or expressions in a meaning which is different from that literal meaning we know. So here it's a kind of, if you can say, implementing or utilizing the imaginative meaning of words, right? Like when we spoke last time about connotation and denotation, right? Here we'll try to elicit, right, or refer to or hint at that deep meaning, right? Deep imaginative meaning, within those words or expressions in the context of the poetic lines which give them more, more depth and more profundity and significance, clear, and significance. So, figure of speech means imaginative language, right, which uses, words or expressions in a meaning, right, which is different from the common meaning we know from them. Good. Here I'm going to explore the different figures of speech, right. Of course, this imaginative level of language is achieved through the use of those figures of speech, right. Figures of speech, right. Those elements are called figures of speech. First figure of speech is simile. Number one, it is simile. What is simile? Simile is simply an explicit or clear or apparent comparison between two things using like or as, right, using those tools of comparison. Usually they are like or as. Sometimes also we may find as, it means tools of equality, superiority, like more than, more and than. Sometimes seems and things like that. Clear? But usually when we say simile, we mean comparison between things using like or as. Like or as. Like when we say, you are like a moon. You are like a moon. Alright? Or, for example, I wandered lonely as a cloud. Here, with the use of like and as, when comparing two things, here we have used what we call simile. Simile. It is clear and explicit, as you see here. Alright. Now, a second type also of figure of speech and also of comparison is called metaphor. Metaphor also. Metaphor. Here, metaphor. Here also we have another type of comparison, but at a different level. Here it is an implicit, hidden, right, an implicit comparison between two things, right, without the use of any tool of comparison, right. We don't use neither like nor as nor any other element. For example, we say he is a lion. He is a lion. Don't know. Life is a diary. We carry every day. Right. You are my moon. And so on. All these are comparisons with two elements. Here, the writer or the poet resembles the woman, to a moon without using like or as. Clear? For example, here also the poet when he say life is diary resembles life to a diary without using neither as nor like. Clear? That's why it's called the metaphor. It is implicit. Alright. Also another important figure of speech is what we call personification. It's called personification. Here it's when poets personify an object. It means portray it as a person, or give it personal or human qualities. When they give an object which is inanimate object, human qualities, right? Rendering it a person or a human, right? Or a human. Sometimes also they implement this figure of speech by referring to an object using third person pronoun he or she. For example, the ship, she, I don't know, the mountain, he, and so on. Clear? So here, when we say personification, we mean giving human qualities to an inanimate object. Like for example, when we say the sky is crying. The sky is crying. So here, the poet, as if he portrays the sky as a person who is crying. Clear? Or for example, when we say the earth Okay, grows, it's green, right? Grows, it's green, I don't know, or wears its green dress. Okay, the earth wears green dress. Here it resembles, right? Or he gives, sorry, yes, resembles the earth to woman. Okay, to woman who wears green dress. So here is called what we call personification. Okay, he renders the earth as if it were a woman. It were a woman or a person. Clear. Also, we have another figure of speech which is widely used also in poetry, which is the symbol. Which is the symbol for symbol. What's a symbol here? Symbol here is that physical object. Okay, physical object which symbolizes or stands for a particular idea, particular concept, and so on. For example, we have the example of Emily Dickinson's use of the bird as a symbol for hope, in her famous poem, which is entitled "Hope is the thing with feathers." Hope is the thing with feathers. Here she used the bird as a symbol for hope. Okay, for hope. Also, we have another figure of speech which is called synecdoche. 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 It's a bit strange term. Synecdoche. Here, when we say synecdoche, we mean when we refer to when the part refers to the whole, or the whole refers to the part. Clear? For example, when the part refers to the whole. For example, we say, his eyes are following me. His eyes, it's only a part of a person, but this part refers to the person himself. Not only his eyes, but the whole person. Clear? His eyes are following me. So here, it is the use of synecdoche. Or vice versa. When we have the whole, refers to the part. When we say, we have defeated Britain in the match. Here, of course, Britain doesn't represent all Britain, but only the football team or the team of Britain. So here, the whole of Britain refers to only a part, okay, within that word. So here, we have used the example of synecdoche. Okay, synecdoche. When the part represents or refers to the whole, or the opposite, which is the whole represents or refers to only a part of something. Right. Another also figure of speech, which is hyperbole. Hyperbole. Number 4. Sorry, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here it's 6. Hyperbole. Hyperbole is a kind of exaggeration. It's a kind of exaggeration in our expressions. Okay, in the poetic expression. For example, usually it is mixed with a kind of humor sometimes. Clear? For example, he is hungry, he will eat the whole cornfield. Okay, he will eat the whole cornfield. Here we have a kind of exaggeration. Okay, it's called here hyperbole. Or also when we say his smile stretches from New York to California. His smile stretches, right, from New York to California. Here it's a kind of an exaggerated portrayal, okay, of this image in poetry. In poetry. Clear? In poetry. Because also one of the main functions of these elements is to create that vivid imagery in the poem through the use of imagination, right, to make the meaning profound and deep, and also to create or those beautiful images, right, vivid images at the level of the poem. Right, good. This is concerning the first key feature, which is the figurative language. Figurative language. Now we move on to the second, right, key feature, which is the use of musical devices. The use of now musical devices. Musical devices or sound devices. Sometimes they are called sound devices. Sometimes also they are called acoustic devices, acoustic sound or musical devices. Here, of course, we have those sound devices which are used to give that musical tone to the poem, right? A musical tone to the poem, and also to reach its meaning, right? To reach its meaning, right? Its meaning. Clear? So here, for the figures of speech, they deepen the meaning, okay, and they create vivid images, right? Rather than those only common images and superficial images. Figures of speech deepen the poem's meaning and significance, right, and enrich it with more imagination and with more images and more imagery, okay, more imagery. Now, on the other hand, we have the sound devices which create that tone, okay, musical tone in the poem, enrich the meaning of the poem also, right, because the sounds, when they have that resonant tone also, they create meaning, which is very, 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 very significant also, right? For example, the S, the sa, repetition of sa sometimes indicates sadness sometimes importantly, clear, and so on. This is things which are treated in the science of semiology, maybe semiology, okay, in general. So, now these sound devices are also based on key element, which is repetition, okay, repetition of certain sound devices in a poem, right, gives it more musical beauty, okay, more musical beauty, and make it, I don't know, richer in terms of significance and in terms of, I don't know, treatment of a particular idea or concept or theme, you can say, clear, and so on. Good. Now, we have many musical devices which are used in poetry, and all of them contribute to the beauty of the poem, right? First, we start with what we call the rhyme. The rhyme. Number one, we have the rhyme. What's rhyme in poem? Rhyme is the repetition of a particular sound, right? Particular sound at the end of words which are close to one another. Clear? Close to one. For example, right? He found the car, okay, and the bar close together. You have car and the bar together, as they have similar ending, or final sounds are similar. We call this one rhyme. But usually when we say rhyme in English, we mean the final sound in the poetic lines. The poetic lines. For example, the first line ends with sky, second one ends with dry. Here we have the I and the I, what we call the rhyme. They represent the rhyme, and so on. Whenever you find two similar final endings at the end of poetic lines, we call them rhymes. Usually they are called rhymes. Clear? Like in Arabic we call them arawi. Okay, the same is rhyme. But sometimes they occur even at the level of, in the middle of the poetic line itself, not only at the end. Usually it's at the end. Good. Also we have another important and characteristic sound device for poetry, which is the rhythm. Rhythm. It's called the rhythm. Rhythm is like, you can say, not the tone, but you can say it's when the words are arranged in a particular order, particular order, according to a particular order of syllables, stressed and stressed 2 or 3, particular number of feet, okay, which give us a particular meter, okay. So this meter and this arrangement and order of those syllables and those feet form to me or give to us that rhythm of the poem. That rhythm of the poem. The rhythm of the poem has a particular rhythm, right? Rhythm and kind of resonance in the ear of the listener. In the ear of the listener, right? Of course, on the basis of that meter, which is very precise. Meter with its order and division of elements and syllables and feet and so on. Clear? Good. And they have also that kind of beats. Clear? Beats. Stressed and stressed and stressed. They teach us a kind of beat. Right, a kind of beat which distinguish the poetic language and line from the prose narratives. Okay. Rhythm. Also, we have another important sound device, which is called alliteration. Alliteration. What do I mean by alliteration? Here it is the repetition of the same sound, usually consonant, at the beginning of close words. Of the close words. We have words in a poetic line. While we have some words which are near to each other and start with the same consonant or letter, let's say, or sound, we call this technique or this device, we call it alliteration. For example, we say, what a delicious day. Huh? What a delicious day. Here, delicious and day start with D. This one is called alliteration. Alliteration because we have two words which start with the same consonants and they are next to each other, each other. Right, when we say blow the balloon bubbles. Blow, balloon, bubbles. Here, B together. Okay, at the beginning of words, create to us what we call alliteration. Alliteration. Good. Also, we have another important repetition or kind of repetition, which is in the form of what we call assonance. Assonance. Assonance starts with A. Here it refers to the repetition of only vowel sounds. Okay, vowel sounds. Assonance. Repetition of vowel sounds. In close words. In close words. For example, we say, we can say, let your light shine. Let your light shine. Light, I, shine, I. Here, the two eyes, when they are in two close words, we call this assonance. Okay, we can also say, you can go to fro and, and so, a dill. Go and so, here go and so together, they have the same vowel sound repeated. Here it's called assonance. It's called assonance. Clear? Assonance. Also, we have consonants. Here it is concerned with vowel sounds. A is a vowel, so we write here vowel. Position of vowels, right, in close words. And we have next one, which is consonants. Here starts with C, so it concerns consonants. Now, what do you mean by consonants? Consonants is the repetition of course, consonants or the same consonants before and after different vowels. Before and after different vowels in close words. For example, we say flip and the flop. Flip and the flop. Look here. In the flip, it's E. flop it's L, flip-flop. Before the E and the L, we have the same consonants. We repeat the same consonants, but, okay, between different vowels here, different vowels. Clear? Bleak and black and the block, black and the block. Black and the block here also, it's a kind of consonants. We have before black, we have A and the block with O. Here also before it's B before the O and B before the O. Right, after it's the same also consonants. And before it's the same consonants, but they are, okay, before and after different vowels within two close words. This one is called consonants. It's called consonants. Good. Another also important sound device is what we call onomato. It's a bit difficult to pronounce. Okay. Onomatopoeia. It's onomatopoeia. Yes, it's onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. Right. Here we have all of them. I will except with M. And only A here. Onomatopoeia. It's onomatopoeia. Right. Onomatopoeia. Here, when we have the sound of the words, mimic or imitate, right, or recreate the sound of the word. Sound of the word. For example, we say scratch. Scratch. Here the word represents the sound, okay, created from this action. That's why it is one of those, okay, onomatopoeia, okay, words. Clear? For example, also we have the hiss of the snake. Hiss of the snake. When it moves, it makes that hiss sound. That's why the word hiss represents another use of onomatopoeia. Also, for example, we have, I don't know, tick-tock. Tick-tock of the clock. Right. Tick-tock of the clock. Tick-tock also represents and mimics the sound of the clock itself. That's why it is here considered as onomatopoeia. Okay, onomatopoeia. It's the same words which create and which imitate. Right. That's why it's called. It is called kind of imitation. Okay, kind of imitation, which imitates. Okay, the sound of the action from this word. Okay, tick-tock of the clock. Also, another important and widely used and very common sound device is the repetition itself. 6. Repetition. Repetition. For example, sometimes writers tend to repeat the same words or expressions in the same poetic line or in different poetic lines. Here, just to make their poem, okay, more resonant, okay, more significant, right, and more expressive, okay, in terms of meaning through this, repetition, from this resonant repetition of the same sounds and the same words. For example, we have the example of Edgar Allan Poe's poem, right, The Raven, when he repeated the word Leonore many times, Leonore, right, and also Leonore all the time. Here, it's very interesting repetition which signifies a very deep meaning, right, and Mrs. the writer wants to emphasize here, right, and convey also, and convey. So these are generally different devices under the two key features of poetry, which are the figurative language or figures of speech, and also the acoustic or the musical devices. These characterize and distinguish poetry and make it a very unique form of expression, okay, and characterize it with the distinctive language, which ranks it as the noblest, okay, literary genre, compared to the other genre, especially in the 18th century, when the poem was the major literary form of expression. Now we need to recapitulate all what we have said about the elements of poetry. We said that we rank poetry as the noblest and the crown of literature due to its distinctive language mainly which is stemmed from these distinctive features, which are mainly diction, careful selection of words, second, precision, third, the use of figures of speech, which enriches the poem with more significance and also more vivid images. It creates imagery at the level of the poem, and number four, which is the use of the musical devices, which also enrich the meaning of the poem and give it that musical tone. The musical tone thanks to the repetition of certain sounds in that poem. Now here, if you want to mention just some examples of famous poems, we can mention the example of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. Also, we can mention the example of Robert Frost's poem, which is The Road Not Taken, which has that humanitarian, you can say, significance and message. Also, we can speak about masterpiece of Langston Hughes, that's Black Bard of Harlem, African American poet Hughes, who wrote Let America Be American Again. It's a very interesting poem. I advise you to read it. It's a very interesting and musical poem, and also very deep and significant, as it defends the cause of the African Americans in America. We have also the example of Wasteland by the father of modernism, who is T.S. Eliot, Thomas S. Eliot. Wasteland, that long poem, Also we have Ezra Pound's poems, long list of poems. We have also, as among the famous poets, William Carlos Williams. We have Archibald MacLeish. We have William Milton Yeats, the father of the free verse, the leading figure, or poet of free verse, which is free of those conventions of traditional poetry. We can also mention here John Keats, the romantic poet, who is resembled now and always to the Arabic or the Arab poets, Qasim al-Shabi, because both of them, John Keats and al-Shabi, died in a younger age, and they wrote a huge amount of poetry. We have also Emily Dickinson's poems, which are very interesting to read. They are not too long, and many other poems. From both British and American literatures, and which who these poets enrich the body of the world literature. Now we need, as readers, we need always to read poetry. Why? Because it sharpens. Poetry sharpens our senses, clear, and it makes us taste literature. We feel in it, that kind of association, of emotional association with poetry, with its meaning, with its significance. And with ourselves too. That's why Robert Frost, he defines it as what emotion which has found thought, which has found word. He starts first with emotion, because with poetry are going to focus on our emotions. It's the kind of portraying our emotions. We find in it what we feel. Unlike the other genres, we express to them what we feel. But here we find in ourselves what we find in that poetry, which addresses mainly the emotions and the feelings of the reader, while the others, they mainly address his mind. Okay, his mind. So thank you so much. Be grateful to your attention and see you in another lecture. Just revise your lessons. Good luck.